I actually want to make a video like highlighting a Classic Plus healing mage that isn't as crazy as Season of Discovery. This can still match a good theme, maybe give a whole talent tree system of how that would work. Hey, hi, welcome by the way. You know, I give myself some really weird tasks. One of them being, hey, what would a healing mage look like in Classic Plus, and how would we implement that? That shouldn't be too hard. But hey, after 31 hours, here we are. And I tried to make a script for this, but I have no idea how I would script this entire thing. So, that being said, this might not be very scripted. This is going to go horribly, and I know it. All right, so let's get into it. First off, what is a healing mage, and how does that even work? Well, through Chronomagic. Chronomagic, time magic, healing mage. A support-based arcane mage who manipulates time, damage, and energy to sustain its allies through regeneration, temporal loops, and feedback bursts. The healing model is damage-driven, with no temporal beacons involved. Healing scales off arcane damage, spell power, and efficient channeling. So to get rid of that stupid temporal beacons that I was definitely not a fan of when it came to the healing mage, arcane damage just naturally heals. It doesn't heal for a ton at all. It's just passive, sustainable healing. If you want to think about it like anything, it's sort of like the heal that comes from a shadow priest. One of the biggest differences between this version that I've created and the Season of Discovery mage, for example, is the fact that this one requires way more channeling on your target. And a lot of these abilities that I'm going to be naming or that you're going to see icons for, they might look like other abilities, but in reality, they're completely different on how I created it. For example, let's start with regeneration. It's going to be a baseline ability that you're going to get as you're leveling up. Sort of similar to Frostbolt, Fireball, and even, in my case, in my Classic Plus, Arcane Missile. It channels an arcane damage to a single target enemy, while simultaneously heals at least one lowest health ally, and this will improve with talents. It does benefit from Missile Barrage, which we will get into later, Spell Haste, and other damage modifiers. It does not have a cooldown, however, it has a pretty high mana cost. Now, if I wanted to stick to my 3 core pillar designs, Healing Mage has to have a weakness. One of those being if you use regeneration, which targets a enemy and then passively will channel towards the lowest health target in your allies, well, you don't have direct say on who that actually is targeting. It's just whoever is the lowest. This ability cannot be spammed because you will run out of mana very quickly. While you are channeling regeneration on the enemy, it will be doing damage to them. And because it is arcane damage, it will heal other people in your group. Like I said, similar to the priest. However, the direct channel from regeneration to an ally will be way bigger than just that passive heal damage that's coming from the arcane damage being done. So TLDR, big channel, big mana cost. It does damage, it passively heals your party, but will also choose one target to also heal for the damage that you're doing to the enemy. Did I lose you yet? I hope not, because it gets way more complicated from here. And that's a key component to the healing mage, is regeneration. So to make this work and to keep to the talent tree system, well, we had to move some things to baseline. One of them being Presence of Mind. Arcane Mind will just be passive for all mages. Wand Specialization, Mana Shield, and Improved Mana Shield added with it. Arcane Resilience. And we're going to get some new baseline abilities. One is going to be Chronostatic Preservation, same way that it's used in SOD. It's basically like a flash shield that you can hold on to. Here's an ability that I may not add, just because it kind of will take away from the whole channeling theme that the healing mage is going for, and that's Arcane Blast. I don't know if I would want it in my version of healing mage, but I would rather for it to work around arcane missiles in comparison to arcane blast. So this may go in there, it may not. I'm just going to put it aside. If you guys think that's a good idea to add, just let me know, you know what I mean? And arcane mages, like I said, now just passively heal through their damage. Like any arcane damage will passively heal for, let's say, 5% of the damage done scaling with spell power. Not a whole lot. Hell, it could be even like 4 to 5%. It's mainly that passive heal just goes out to your party as sort of sustainable healing. The big thing is using your regeneration on specific targets and using chronostatic preservation for big burst heals. Because I really hated the temporal beacon, but I loved everything else about the mage, really. And I could have honestly just left it at that, saying it's just a channeling DPS healing hybrid, and these are my thoughts. It's just going to work around. No, I built an entire talent tree and reworked how the spells actually work in order to make this possible. Blizzard, I already did the work for you. Don't let hours of research go to waste. Let's start with the tier 1. Improved arcane missiles, up to 5 points. It makes you immune to interruption while channeling, and arcane missiles will eventually proc Missile Barrage, but that's at max rank, and once you get Missile Barrage. What is Missile Barrage? Well, we're going to get into that eventually. Arcane Focused reduces the mana cost of all arcane spells, including healing, by 10%. Arcane Subtlety. Because Classic has a problem with threat, it reduces your threat by 12%. Regeneration applies a small heal over time on the target that heals for 3 seconds. In the very next tier, we have improved regeneration, increase the number of raid members' regeneration heals by up to 5. At max rank, regeneration heals up to 5 targets while channeling damage. We have Cascading Energy, increases all chronomatic healing by 10% per point. Magic Absorption, increases arcane resistance by 10% whenever a spell is resisted or missed. Restore up to 2, 4, 6, 8, 10% of your max mana. And now we're hitting the tier 3s. Starting off with the Missile Barrage, it is a passive talent, gives your Arcane Blast, if we decide to put it in there, or Arcane Missiles a 40% chance to reduce the channel duration of your next Arcane Missiles by 50%, reduce the cost by 100%, and the missiles will fire every 0.5 seconds. And Missile Barrage also will be affecting your generation, reducing its channel time and increasing its healing tick speed. And the mana cost also applies 100% reduction. So keeping that in mind, it's ideal to want to use regeneration after you proc a Missile Barrage, because then the cast would be free. Next in the tier 3 would be Improved Greater Decurse. Gives a 50% and 100% chance to apply a small hot after removing a harmful spell effect. And last on our tier 3 would be Improved Arcane Explosion. Arcane Explosion heals nearby allies for an additional 10, 20, and 30% of damage dealt. Arcane Explosion's mana cost, however, is increased by 5, 10, and 15%. Now we're finally moving on to the tier 4. Arcane Stability. 3, 6, 9% spell damage and healing increase. Arcane spells have a chance to trigger a healing pulse on regeneration targets. Now, this one was one of my personal favorites, is Improved Counterspell. A 50 and 100% chance. Interrupting an enemy spell allows you to reflect it instantly with a second press. So essentially, you silence the target by counterspelling them, and then you gain that ability for the very next press. It's a one-time use and it's instant. Let's say if there's another fire mage out there about to cast Pyroblast on you, you can counterspell them and then recast that Pyroblast for free instantly. Same thing with a heal. You can counterspell a heal and then use that heal as you see fit. Arcane Meditation works the exact same, except that it's with channeling spells as well. And in our tier 5, we have Rewind Time. It's a 1-minute cooldown. Rewinds the last 6 seconds of damage taken on a friendly target and restores mana spent in the last 10 seconds to the caster. Now we also have Diverted Energy. Each target healed with regeneration reduces the rewind time cooldown by 1, 2, and 3 seconds. Now time for one of my favorite abilities, Arcane Barrage. Fires a barrage of arcane energy hitting up to 3 enemies. Each hit contributes to party healing via feedback effect. 25% chance to proc Missile Barrage. This would be on a 8 to 10 second cooldown, give or take. And now for our capstone talent, Temporal Anomaly. But not the way you know it inside some stupid little bubble. No. We're a Chrono Mage. We need to be doing something with time and resources and support. So with that, I created my version of Temporal Anomaly. It's a channeled spell that deals regeneration damage to a target while healing the entire raid. There's a caveat. This is a channel spell that will drain all of your mana, but every player affected either gets 10 rage, 5 energy, or 50 mana. And this will be on a 3-minute cooldown. Now, while making this mage, I came across one problem. It didn't have very many weaknesses. So the first few iterations of this healing mage was actually very, very overpowered, which is why I leaned way more into the actual channeling abilities, because many core spells like Regeneration and Temporal Anomaly are channeled, meaning any interruption, crowd control, silence, movement, knockback can severely reduce the healing uptime, and that's the weakness I gave it. Because in Classic, you gotta have weaknesses. For example, in PvP, there's going to be a lot of counterplay versus a healing mage. Enemies with stun, silences, interrupts, especially like rogues, warriors, hunters with scatter can exploit this downtime dramatically. Another downside I sort of gave it is that you can't really move around too much. Maybe being able to blink and going back into your channeling and arcane missiles, regeneration, and doing your upkeep like that, that would be the weakness I had to give a healing mage. Also, it has a lot of ramp up time, so things like being able to proc missile barrage, using that with regeneration or arcane missiles, you have to choose which one you kind of want to do. Do you want to do a little bit more damage, or do you want to send your regeneration out and heal up a little bit more? It's a very standstill kind of class, but when you're standing still, you're doing quite a bit. Now, what are some of the plus sides? Well, it's consistent, sustainable healing with a lot of raid support and utility. One of the biggest advantages, though, is if you are a very tactical player, this class would really shine for you. I'm not even kidding. Let's say you're using all your healing, regeneration, you're getting low on mana. What are you going to do? You're going to evocate, right? You're going to evocate. Then you can pop Temporal Anomaly, drop all your mana again, then rewind time all your mana back again, using arcane missiles and arcane barrage in order to proc missile barrage so that you can have free regenerations, which reduces the cooldown of your rewind time. And honestly, I love doing stuff like this, being able to theory craft certain things like how would a healing mage work in Classic Plus, and this would be a perfect example of how I think it should be implemented if they were to ever do something like that. Blizzard, you better do it, because I freaking love the healing mage and I really want to see more stuff like it. So I already did all the work for you. So anywho, if you did like this video and you want to see even more classes done like this, let me know what class you would want to see, or I can make another video about the different quality of life things that I would like to add in Classic Plus. There's endless things that I would like to build my perfect Classic Plus, so ask me a question and perhaps, maybe, just maybe, I might turn it into a video. So make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and you guys have a wonderful day. Peace.